Well, the day when they said that the
Every lay starts with a vision. Visions manifest in different ways, sometimes in a dream. Sometimes a lay builds itself before my eyes in a daydream.
lost without a trace at all.
Sometimes a feather will spark a vision and catch my attention. Sometimes a color will inspire. Feather work is Zen. Feathers speak to me. They have tiny voices. Pick me, pick me. I hear voices and I see visions. The definition of insanity. In my world, there are two types of feathers, natural and dyed. I prefer to work with natural feathers because they never fade. Dyed feathers will fade over time and with exposure to the sun and light. For instructional purposes, I will use dyed feathers because they are easily available, come in a variety of colors, and are easy to sew. Dyed feathers also eliminate half of the work that natural feathers require. Consequently, hatbands made with natural feathers are more precious. The rarity of the feather will determine the cost. I will show the basic construction of a hatband. Once the basics are learned, the imagination can thrive. Prepping the felt base. Your felt strip should be 2 inches by 31 is kind of typical. Of course, you're going to adjust if you want a wider lay. But what we're going to do is fold over each side 1/2 inch to the center and secure it with a running stitch. Pretty much a basic basting running stitch. This doesn't have to be pretty, just to secure the felt. So you're gonna do one side all the way down and then the second side all the way down. Now we're going to trim the top of the lay with a little bit of a curve, and we're gonna slip stitch over the edges so that it looks finished. Dyed feathers typically come pre-strung and ready to cut. So simply separate some feathers and then we're gonna cut each feather to 1.5 inches. You can use any tool as long as it's easy to hold and cut. So each feather is cut 1.5 inches long. If you look at each feather, they lay either to the right, the left, or straight up in the middle. So you can see the curve on the side of the feather. And we sort it into 3 piles: left curve, right curve, and straight up. Okay, let's start on our first row. Place the feather to extend a little bit past the top of the felt, like 1/2 inch. And then you're going to put your knot at the top because it'll be hidden by the feathers that go over it. So you're going to secure the feather about halfway down the feather. Take your first stitch and then try to equally distance the other 3 stitches. That's the left side. We're going to do the same thing to the right side. Take a feather that has a natural bend to the left and Take your first stitch halfway down the spine of the feather, and then 3 more stitches. I like to work from left to right and then the center last. So now we're going to put the center feather. Make sure it's in line with the other 2 feathers. Check to see that it's in the middle before you put your stitch. You're sewing on both sides of the spine and you don't puncture the spine. So that's our first row. Second row is the same. The space between your rows are going to be typically about 1/16 of an inch, which makes for a very tight fitting lei. Now after you finished a few rows, and we're going to put a stripe. So about 1 3/4 to 2 inches, you can start your stripe. Use a contrasting color for your stripe. Same as the other color, the pink, light pink, we're going to secure each feather with 4 stitches. As you can see, it doesn't matter if you use a black thread or a white thread because you won't see the thread. I like to use black because the felt is black and then you can't see the stitches on the back. You can put 2 or 3 rows of contrasting colored feathers depending on the size or the width of your stripe. And then you continue with the original color feather, and there's your stripe. Now this is a lei that is almost finished, and so we're gonna put a clasp so that you can secure the ends of the lei. First of all, we have to measure where we're gonna put the clasp. You can see where it just covers, and so we're going to put our clasp a little bit inside of the end of the lei. So to secure the end of the lei, where we have finished sewing our last feather, you want to cover the stitches. Cut your felt so that it just covers all of the stitches. Now we're trimming the felt so that you just have 1 layer instead of a bulky 2 layers. Cut off the excess, fold it over, trim the ends so they're nice and finished. I put a curve on mine. Then we fold it over and we're going to secure it to the feather lei. I go through the middle part of the felt and do a very small running stitch all the way around twice so that it's almost totally covered with stitching. Now these are the clasps. You can use any clasp that you can find. These are from my grandmother, but they still have them in the stores, so they're easy to find. I secure the clasp with about 4 stitches in each of the holes. The bottom part of the felt band, you can secure the clasp through all layers. However, the top part of the clasp, you're not going to go through all layers. You're just going to go through the felt because we're just securing the clasp to the felt. Once more, 4 stitches on each end, and you tie it off. Make sure the hat band fits the hat. And there you go.
in the head.